Yes, we understand that cybersecurity is a very complex process. There are many layers that need to be addressed. So we have put together a process of 5 steps, which highlight the main areas where things can go wrong or where the weaknesses are in your business, such as employee training, bringing in your own devices, USB tampering. It's a comprehensive list which we can run through with our customers, which will ensure that they are up to a cyber smart kind of level, and we're confident that they know what their networks are secure. So the first step is an audit. We would attend site and run a vulnerability scan. This tests software levels, patch levels, and any current software that's on the system. This will allow us to then see if there are any weaknesses internally in the system. This audit would involve things like speaking to the client, sort of finding out how they work, what kind of things they bring into the office, how they do their personal backups, just a general overview of things coming in and out of the company and where any potential weaknesses would be. So we also offer a sort of a deeper penetration testing service. This again is very similar to the initial audit, but an auditor or an engineer would attend site with specific software, which would then do an open VAS, an open vulnerability event assessment scan, which would go through the network and highlight on a traffic light system any critical patches, any flaws. But not only that, we would also do a test on the external IP of the client. So we would test to see what we can see from outside of their office, things like servers, open ports, any kind of CRM systems that are unpatched. So it gives a really clear overview of exactly where we could obtain access to your building or your network. So once you've done the audits, we will obviously back to the office and we will compile a report. That report will give you an overview of machines that are unpatched or lacking patches. We have a traffic light system, green, yellow and red, which is universal to the world. It's called CVE, it's Common Vulnerabilities and Exploits. These are released generally by Microsoft, Adobe, those kind of players. And what that is, it was a score between 1 and 10, 1 being it's there, a few more weeks, don't worry about it. Yellow being, yeah, it's pretty serious, we need to get to site, maybe to do it within a week. And red being, oh my God, your network is open and we can get in, someone can get in very easily to the network. The report will also show any kind of remediation work that needs to be done. It will include things like any weaknesses we might find. So we might find that users have USB keys lying around on their desks. We may see employees, not working as secure as they should be on personal phones or personal devices in the office. It just gives us a really good chance to explain to the customer where things could go wrong. Once we've done provided the report to the client, then the client will obviously decide what they want to do, whether they want to use our services, which they probably will. So we then look at 4 main areas we would break down as we go along, and these areas are things, so the first area is networking, which is your firewalls, your switches, your WAN gateways, your internal LAN, any kind of routers or any kind of remote access that people have. So we would sort of look at that and secure all that down. Secondly, we'll be looking at hardware. So are there any Windows XP machines, any unsupported Linux machines, or any out-of-date firmware for things like routers and firewalls again, printers, all these kind of things, which all have flaws, all have ways to infiltrate a network. We also then have the software to look at, so making sure people are on Windows 10, Windows 11, Ubuntu 22.4 or whatever it is now. And we would then also install our monitoring software. So this will obviously monitor machines, keep them up to date. It does things like auto patching. It will let us know if things are going wrong with the system, if there's any kind of breach, be that antivirus or a malware breakout. And then finally we would speak to the company about their employees. So keeping employees trained is one of the most important things. You can spend millions and millions of pounds on the best firewalls in the world, but if an employee clicks an email with a virus, then your millions of pounds of security is wasted. There's now a government-backed certification or scheme. It's called CyberSmart or CyberSmart Plus. This is a compliance to show that you're up to date. Your guys know what they're doing. Your employees know what they're doing. You're aware that there is a cyber issue at hand. You're aware that it's an evolving threat. You are aware that your employees need to be kept up to date, and you are aware of the whole cyber. The whole cyber offering. This will then give you a certification which goes on your website and all your media. A lot of governments, such as military, hospitals, medical, now require these certifications as part of the tender process. This just basically involves an engineer coming to site. We fill in a form which gives us all the details about the company, about what they do. This is then submitted to a certifying body who will review it and then obviously issue a certificate. The next step is slightly more in depth, where we have to. It's the cyber security plus, and it's basically exactly the same as the cyber essentials. You need the cyber essentials to apply for cyber essentials plus. But it is a lot more in depth, so we would have to load a agent onto each of the devices, mobile phones and or PCs, laptops, servers. This then audits the system, and it gives us, like we said about the before with our audit, it will give us a breakdown of that client. That then gets submitted to an independent auditor, who will then randomly log onto a few of the machines on that site just to check that what we're saying is true, and making sure they are what's on the paper, they're saying what's true. And then they'll get issued a Cybersecurity Plus, which is basically, and this also offers you, I think it's up to, don't quote me on this, but I think it's £50,000 or £100,000 worth of free cyber insurance once you get certification. So yeah, it's definitely worthwhile, and it's more and more required these days for high-end tenders and that kind of work. Once we've done all of this, we obviously will have our software installed on the systems. This is monitoring things like hard drive speeds, whether the machines are up to date with antivirus, up to date with security patches, not just Microsoft, but vendor specific, such as Adobe or Veritas Backup or HubSpot, etc., etc. This monitors 24/7 back to our NOC in Oxford, which is then monitored by our service team. Any major problems, straight away flash up red, and the guys are alerted. And once a day, the guys check over each of our customers to see the state of the network. And then once a month, we would do either a formal visit or a remote, kind of like a mini audit, just to make sure things are still working okay and nothing's changed. Make sure you guys are still familiar with cybersecurity, make sure, just a little reminder to the employees about phishing and vishing and these kind of things, and just generally keep an eye on the system for our customers. So STL put together the 5 steps that we think are the most important to keeping your business secure. This basically is going to allow you to avoid any costly data breaches, such as again phishing emails where people are sending money to who they think is their boss or their finance department, but it's actually the hackers in question. It gives you insight on how hackers actually work, the tools that we use, and the ways that we can infiltrate systems. So again, that's another step, so we keep you aware of upcoming technologies and threats. Everything we do is focused on protecting your data, so we'll obviously have our backups in place, we have our endpoint software monitoring, we have DR solutions in place, bare metal restores, just whatever we can do to protect that data and keep it safe. And again, we would offer, if the client wanted it, some kind of education for the employees. We have an online learning system for cybersecurity. It just keeps people aware, keeps people on the ball. We all get hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. We all get hundreds and hundreds of attachments a day. It's just obviously making sure the employees don't click the bad ones. And we would obviously keep you guys up to date and let you know about any major things that are coming up. So you see in the news sometimes these major virus outbreaks, these major ransomware attacks, and we would let the clients know that these are about, they need to do anything, and we would just let them know really if at any point their network comes under any weakness. So it just keeps them up to date and keeps them going.